here we go. Let's do this. Oh, what a day, YouTube. What a day. What a day, what a day. Alright, so today what are we doing? We're going to do some Beachheads today. We're hopefully going to get level 95. So that way then we can get to 15k energy shield. This is what my POB looks like, by the way. I was doing some calculations yesterday. I think I can get to 15,000 energy shield with this one additional point. So let's go import my character. Steel Draconis. And where is it? Innocence. Innocence is Golden Arse. Here we go. Alright, so this character presently is at 1493, right? That's what it is in game. Look, 14963. Okay. But with one more level, with one more additional level, we can go over here. And look, we go up over 15,000. It's over 15,000. Hey, what's up, Kirky? What's up, nobody important? Welcome to the chat. So I think we can do this today if we just run enough Beachheads. So today what we're going to do is we're going to run Beachheads. We're going to help you guys with POBs and offer feedback. Hopefully there will be more POBs that I actually can be helpful with than yesterday. Yesterday I feel like I was barely helpful, if at all. So it was a good time. I had fun. But that doesn't mean it was helpful to anybody else. It was interesting to look at all of the different Vengeance and Reckoning builds, the trigger builds that so many players were using yesterday. But we took a look at 4 different POBs yesterday. I'm hoping to get to more than just 4 POBs today. That's our goal, so we'll see if we hit that. I'm hoping that there's more time to stream today. I've also done a few more changes to my setup. I've moved around my some of my gems so that way I can include Flame Dash because I'm sick of not going up and down, not traveling up and down on these peninsulas with Flame Dash. So I took out Desecrate because I don't really need Desecrate except when I first log in to actually summon all my zombies. And even then I probably wouldn't need it. I could just go into a map and kill stuff with basically just with skeletons. Another thing that I did today was I actually added on to my loot filter. That's what I was just messing around with before we went live. I added on Horizon Orb Shards onto my loot filter, and I think I took off some other lower tier stuff. Took off like Scouring Orbs, Chance Orbs. I think that's mostly what I took off here today. So the plan is run a few more of these Beachheads. I think I've only got to run 3 more Beachheads-ish, and then I should hit another level, so we should hit 15k ES. Which is exciting. That's the most ES that I would have ever had on a character in particular. So that's exciting. Well, other than a support character. I've had support characters go higher than that. But do support characters really count? Or characters that are using headhunters? Like, I don't really count those as characters that count for their flat ES. Like, it's kind of cheating. I might actually level a Guardian. I might just play my Guardian on my other account today and swap them from Holy Relic into a Mana Guardian. I don't know, though. We'll see. I've got some really nice stuff in Standard for doing Herald of Agony. I've got a Spellcaster bow that I made in Hardcore Synthesis that me and Beckett made together, which is really, really good bow. It's got the +1 to all socketed gems implicit on the synthesized bow, and then it's got, I think, another 3 or 4 levels on it. So it's quite good for anything that scales with gem levels, like Herald of Agony. So I might do that. I might actually build out a Guardian, a Mana Guardian, because I've been debating whether or not I want to feature one of those in our Build of the Week series. So that may be something that we do. Oh, look at that, some Exalt Shards. I think these have already paid for themselves, by the way. With the number of fully completed Ancient Orbs that we've gotten, I think I've gotten 9 or 10. And we spent like 8x-ish. So what is that? Just with the ancient shards ancient shards plus ancient orbs alone, that's like pretty much 4 to 5x. And then between all the maps that we've dropped, with all the other currency that we've dropped probably a pure X worth of exalted shards off of running these Beachheads. So purchasing 22 Beachhead maps for about 8x was not a bad purchase for currency making. It's not the best way to make currency, but if you break even and then it's super safe XP where you're never going to die, well, that's a pretty good way to set up your character to gain consistent XP at this point. Which we're getting about 60 mil, 58, 59. It's basically 6% per map right now is what we're getting on these beachheads. So we've still got, I think on this run, we've got 3 more beachheads that we need to do. And then we should be roughly-ish. That's 18%, right? 3 more beachheads. 18%, so I need to be, what, 82% is where I need to be at. So maybe it'll be 4 beachheads. Maybe it won't be 5, or maybe it won't be 3. I can count, right? Anyway, how are you guys doing today? Enough about what I'm doing today. Let's talk about you guys. King B says, just got my first Hunter's X and Awakener's Orb. GG. Nice. Very nice. Nobody Important says, trying to get 92 on my Assassin, just dying to lag spikes feels kind of meh. Oh, that's rough. Cow says, hi G3 Iron, I'm in the works of making a Tectonic Slam build. Ooh. Those are fun. G3 Fat Rat actually made one of those, I think this league and last league. So he would be a great resource on our Discord to ask about how to make a Tectonic Slam character. Uh-oh. I like tanking Volatile Dead. I like just standing here, just like waving at the Harbingers. Hi, Harbingers. Chris Carlson, what is up, my dude? Welcome, welcome. Good to have you around today. Taco Mage, welcome back. Good to have you around today. Always an exciting thing when we get to stream during the week. It's a rare thing. It's a rare thing. It's a treat. A rare treat when we get to stream during the day. King B says, my first ever Elder done. Now I just need Shaper to hope for the Celestial Hideout. Oh man, good luck. Good luck. I'm not going to tell you what the stats are on whether or not you're going to get it. I got absolutely lucky to get mine. We had run, I think maybe 8 to 10 of them in what league was it? Maybe was it in Legion that it was announced? I think we ran 8 to 10 of them. Didn't get anything, and then just popped on Standard once with 2 other guys in Guild, with Blasting and Diz in Guild, 2 of our Guild officers, because Blasting was farming it, and just got it right away on the first try. So for us, it only took like 10 attempts, 11 attempts, but that was pretty much cheating to grab it there in Standard the way how we grabbed it. Felt great. But hopefully today's the day you get it.
It is not the strongest of the species that survive, but the one most responsive to change.
Oh no, Cobalt Jewels are still showing up. Ugh, I don't want jewels showing up on my loot filter. I'm going to have to go in and change that. I think I forgot to change that. I don't want the Cobalts showing up anymore. Well, not Cobalts, just anything. I don't want any jewels showing up anymore. I've got plenty of jewels that are not going to sell, and I'm just going to carry over with me into Standard. That's just the sad reality of it. Alright, so did we get a full Horizon Orb there? No? Yeah, a couple. A couple of them. That's nice. Like me some Horizon Orbs. I also should probably put on the filter, I should probably include, besides the Harbingers, yeah, I probably should make a few more changes to this loot filter. Now that we're, what, 2/3 into the league? I should get really detailed with my loot filter. But, you know, the more specific content you're farming, the more specific you can be with your loot filter. You know, kind of like what can drop, what should drop, what will drop. You can set yourself some healthier expectations in that regard. Michael Steller says, do you think the new price of Ancient Orbs will be the same next league? We actually chatted a little bit about this yesterday. So, Ancient Orb prices vary based on the availability of chancing headhunters, right? And in order to chance a headhunter in maps, you need to have Nemesis available as a mod from Zana. So the answer is next league, will Ancient Orbs be similar prices? Well, it depends on if Nemesis is available on Zana or not. If Nemesis is not available on Zana, then a whole lot fewer people will be chancing their headhunters. They'll have to use the Alva Temple, or they'll have to use bestiary farming for belts. They'll have to turn in wretched card sets. There's a couple of different ways actually you can drop a headhunter in the temple, in Alva's temple. So you can just get unique items from the temple. If Metamorph goes core, which I fully expect it to go core, then I'm sure somebody's going to drop, you know, Headhunter belts from Metamorph bosses, dropping unique legacy or unique league gear. So that'll be another way. But all of that affects Ancient Orb prices. So as soon as we get the news that Nemesis is back on to Zana or not as a available mod, that is a big factor for determining the value of Ancient Orbs, as well as Scouring Orbs, as well as Orbs of Chance. That entire side of the market is basically dictated, at least in softcore leagues, by the availability of Nemesis on map mods. If it's not available, then people won't be chancing for Headhunters, which means the prices of those things go way down. Need a Leecher? No. I don't want to crash. We can try it, but I really don't want to crash the stream. We can try one of us. We can try one. I really don't want to crash. So we can try one Leecher. We'll see how it goes. Also, we'll see if I die, right? Now that we have a Leecher, I might actually have to pay attention. Yikes. Chris says, you're just flipping currency for fun? Nice. Very nice. Flipping currency is always fun. I've got a couple of my trades up and live right now, but I think the spreads are probably too far out for anybody to want them. 10x Goku says, hi, welcome, welcome. Cowshead says, do you ever think of making a build live? Like, starting a character and then working with you guys through it? Do I think about doing that? I think we've actually done that on a couple of different streams. This league, we've actually started new characters. So,
lucky.
That's something that we'll occasionally do, but I have been debating it. That was 2 weekends ago, or last weekend. I put up on the poll, hey, do you guys want to see a new character getting made on the stream? And pretty much everybody said no. There was a very small percentage of people that wanted to see a new character get made, so that was pretty deterministic for not making a new character on stream. But maybe at some point I will.
It is not the strongest of the species. The one most responsive.
Alright, good old Horizon Orbs. We can just re-roll maps now to be whatever we want them to be. That's really nice. I think we can use those as a trick to re-roll, re-roll basically tier 16s into summits, right? I think that's the trick. I could be misremembering that, though. With my old age, I misremember everything. Insert boomer meme here. Yeah, I gotta take scourings off of my off of my loot filter. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I'm lagging a little bit. Man, I like the rewards of having leechers. I don't like the downsides. Hopefully it's not too choppy on stream. And if it is too choppy on stream, then I'll probably just end up kicking the leecher. It might be choppy just in general. You never know. You never know. Part of the excitement about streaming. You never know if you're going to get a laggy stream or not. Nah, you're fine for now. You are totally fine for right now, Phantasm. I'll let you know if you're not. I'll just randomly kick you from party. You'll be like, what? Aw, there goes my XP leecher. Yeah, the best thing to do is to get like a bunch of scions that aren't doing damage, that are all going to be darkness farmers following Brittle Knees build. That's the best thing to do. Get a whole bunch of pathfinders or scions that just want to go darkness farming, and so they do no damage and they just want to keep up with you for XP. Those are the best kind of leechers. The worst part about having those kind of folks as leechers is they're way faster than you. So they're always like, come on, man, come on. Why are you going so slow? Come on, come on. Alright, let's put up the portal just in case we die. Man, if we died, that would be a bummer. It would cost two beachheads just to get that XP back. That would be bummer. Big bummer. Chris says, can you believe the price of X right now? 190 chaos. I can, actually. 2 weekends ago, I was wrong. 2 weekends ago, I was wrong. I said they were going up to 180, and they didn't with the most recent server going down. When the server went down for the most recent patch, I said, hey, they're going to go up to 180 this weekend. I was wrong. I was off by 1 weekend. So, as usual, I'm wrong. Said it once before, I'll say it again. My wife has said it before, she'll say it again. Iron, you're wrong. Which is just true. On PS4, it's still at 80 to 100C. I believe that. There's probably a lot fewer bots in the PS4 market, right? So there's a lot fewer influence negatively affecting the economy. Or positively affecting the economy. I don't want to start a bot discussion today. I'm not making comments on bots. I'm just saying there are probably not as many on PS4. So, POB live is what Cowshead says. Yeah, we could do a POB live, like live build of a build, like of a theory craft of a build. Whoa, there's a lot of bad guys. The disadvantage, I feel like the disadvantage of doing POBs live and like working it out live is there's just a lot of mistakes that get made that are silly mistakes that you don't even notice until you go in and you game test it, you actually play it. And every player's preferences are different, right? So if you build a build with POB and you just test it with POB, this is one of the reasons why you'll see when I offer players suggestions on their POBs, a lot of the time I try to give options, right? This is a philosophy that I have regarding giving players advice. I don't want to tell you what you can do to improve your build in a linear fashion, in a do this and you'll have a better build. There's very few times that I will do that because frankly, most often than not, players have got pretty solid builds that they're submitting anyway. So very few times will I just give linear, hey, do this and you'll have a better build. Most of the time what I try to do is say, hey, here's a range, or here's an option, or here's several different options that you could make available to yourself if you want to see your build do more damage, or if you want to see your build be a little bit tankier, if you want to see your build speed up, if you want to see your build slow down and have more consistency, right? Like giving players options, I feel like, is something that I appreciate when I'm looking at build guides and when I'm looking for advice. So it's something that I try to emulate when I'm giving advice. So when you just create from scratch a POB character, it's really, really tough to say, hey, this is what I feel like the build needs more of, right? Because every different player has got different desires for a particular build. And so for me as a player, when I'm staring at a POB that I've made,
the strongest of the species that survive,
like,
but the one most responsive to change.
Personally, I think it's pretty tough to actually go and look at it and say, okay, what is it that I'm missing on this particular build? Right? What is it that I feel like is missing on this particular build? It's tough for me to translate from POB into game when I'm creating a build from scratch. When I've already got a concept of a build in mind, then it's pretty easy to pick it up from there. So, at least in my own mind. Maybe that's just because I'm a scrub. Maybe it's because I'm a boomer. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm bald. Maybe it's because of the shape of my beard. I don't know. But that's just the reality of it. Oliver says, just got home from work. All right, welcome. Need to pack up the house as we're moving on Friday. All right. New crib. Woohoo! So I might not get a chance to play today between enjoying LA and GA. All right. Well, that's exciting, dude. New move, new crib, new house. It's pretty exciting. I actually just helped somebody move over the weekend. That was fun. My van. So my wife and I we've got 3 living kids and then another one on the way. So we've got a van. A minivan. We're a classic American family. We've got a minivan. And I got the minivan stuck, actually, on Saturday as I was helping somebody move. Their house was situated in such a way, beautiful house, but the old house that they were moving from was situated in such a way that it had a bit of forestry behind it, a bit of trees, and then it had a clearing. And the clearing came in because a construction company had said that they were going to come in and build some shops near that forest and behind that forest where this house was. So they came in and they cleared out the forest, but then they didn't actually build the buildings. So what happened was this house that was kind of on a hill, but also sort of halfway down the hill, essentially lost the tree cover that was soaking up a lot of the water in the area, and then a little creek formed along the side of the house, actually. And that little creek then came down and ran into a larger creek, but because of the way the landmass then changed because of the running of the creek over the next several years, which I think you would call erosion, I think I'm using the right word there. Because of the erosion due to the creek, there was actually now a bed of essentially of just a flat land that then act as a soaking ground for the water to stay. So any of the water that didn't run down into the creek would just stay in this portion of the yard. Show me the map! And at that point, it was quite interesting because I went to turn my vehicle around, and I turned it around in this low part of the yard, and I didn't realize it was the low part of the yard. And so sure enough, I got stuck. Had to call a tow truck to come and pull me out, which I felt really bad for, because then a couple of the guys were like, well, we can come help push you out, and we can do this and that. And I'm like, no, we're here to help our buddy move. We're not here to waste our energy pushing my stupid car. Well, stupid me for putting my stupid car in a stupid position. So then again, those of you who have played League of Legends with me, you would know I have terrible positioning, so it all makes sense. Well, this is definitely much better XP with an XP leecher. We're definitely getting much more loot, or much more XP. That is for sure. That is an undeniable fact. King B says, got a question, just want your personal opinion. Uh-oh. My personal opinion? My personal opinion is I rarely give my personal opinion. I plan to carry over to Standard since I don't want any new builds. Should I save all my X for Legacy gear or buy builds now to carry over for cheaper? That's a great question. So, the long answer... The long answer is it depends. Okay? It depends. So right now, I'm going to give you an example really quick here. Let's see if I can find this. I'm going to just give you an example. Ellie Phantasm, bear with me, buddy, as we show an example. So this is a trade that I've been doing for the last 2.5 weeks, right, is stacked decks. I'm using this as an example. Right now in Metamorph, the flip is basically, I'm buying stacked decks at like 32 or 33 stacked decks per Exalt, and then I'm selling them for 29 for an Exalt, right? That's Metamorph's going rate. In Standard, however, when you look at that same flip, it's basically 1x for 18 stacked decks, and people are paying 35 for an X. So that's a big flip. People are basically making, whoever's actually doing that flip is making like 2x off of that, right? That's a pretty ridiculously profitable flip for whoever's actually playing Standard and doing that in Standard right now. So I say that just to say a lot of the times things are cheaper in League. You can accumulate larger amounts of stuff in League, and then its value, its price, its inflation actually goes up. Right, the amount of stuff that you need, the amount of Exalts that you need to buy equivalent gear in Standard is usually 2 to 3 times. Especially if you're trying to find a player who's actually online. A lot of the times there's offline players who have got better prices for stuff, but they're offline, and you never know when they're going to come back online. Sometimes there's a really healthy amount of players playing Standard, and sometimes there's a really unhealthy amount of players playing Standard, just depending on the time of day that you're playing and depending on the popularity of the league. So if your question, which your question at the moment, feel free to edit it, feel free to expand on your question, King Beast, but if your question is, hey, should I save currency and then spend it in Standard, generally if you can find something that's equivalent right now in League, it's going to be cheaper for you to buy it right now. That's where it's going to be cheaper. Congrats! A level! That's where it's going to be cheapest, is going to be in League. It doesn't mean that it'll be cheap, but it'll mean that in general it's going to be cheaper than in Standard. Now something that changes as a not a constant, but that's a variable, is depending on how much of a particular league goes core. Like if Metamorph goes core and it's really good and it's really strong, and all this other stuff for the expansion goes core, which we've never had an expansion not go core. I don't think that's ever happened in PoE's history. So the expansion stuff is definitely going core. All the influences, influence-based types, etc. That's all going core. So if that's all going core, then it's at the moment the reason why it's so expensive in League is precisely because the only way people are getting stuff for the League mechanic is through hardcore players ripping stuff from Metamorph. Now, Metamorph didn't necessarily introduce that many unique items. There's a few unique items, but the vast majority of the new items right now are actually due to the expansion, which the expansion is live in Standard right now. So the way how prices are going to change inside Standard once Metamorph migrates to Standard is going to be much different than, let's say, Legion, or let's say Blight, or let's say Synthesis, where we had league mechanics that weren't necessarily certain to go into standard, and so the prices were much, much different in standard during the league, because only the items and the fragments and the currency from that particular league, the only ones that existed in standard were from people in hardcore ripping them over to standard. That's the only time that something would exist in standard that's league specific, is from hardcore players dying and bringing it over. With an expansion, that's not the case. With the expansion, we've got, you know, Hunters Exalted Orbs and Warlords Exalted Orbs and Redeemers Exalted Orbs and Awakeners Orbs and Cirrus Fights. We've got all that in standard right now because it's an expansion. So that part of the economy shouldn't shift too much. Yoshimitsu PR says, started a last rate build because I got Soul Taker drop and wanted a melee build just in time. There you go. Nice. Tenda Kappa says, yeah, but more people equals bigger chance someone notices the mistake if there's any. Oh, referring to a POB? Sure. But I'm less interested in like the mistake side of things as opposed to the mistake side of things that are going to influence my play style, right? If I make a mistake when I'm showing off a POB build that I'm putting together, if I make a mistake there, chances are I'm going to notice it while I'm playing rather than notice it while I'm putting together a POB. Because I guess I come from an era, I guess this is my boomer showing, sorry, but I guess I come from an era where I didn't have POB to build characters when I first started playing, right? So it's a helpful tool for me, but it's not something that I rely on to build characters. I'd much rather build a build in-game and then test and tweak things in POB. I see POB as being like the sandbox where you go to edit things rather than being the construction site where you build something and then add on to it from there. I would much rather build something in game and then tweak it in POB rather than build something in POB. That's probably ass backwards and it probably takes way too much time, but I enjoy playing Path of Exile. So it is what it is. Taco Mage says, speaking of which, re-rigging my Elementalist build for Point Blank and Tailwind boots worked pretty well. Hey, that's great! Uh-oh. Am I going to die? I hope not. However, I've been a trade warrioring all morning trying to rebalance my resists. Yeah, that's probably pretty tough. That's pretty tough. What happened to some dices? What are you talking about? Cow said, what are dices? I'm confused. I'm not sure what that comment was in reference towards. Dice, like the gaming company that made Battlefront? What are we talking about here? I'm lost. The reference is lost on me. Christoph Duda says, hi, call me dude. I could just use some help with my Molten Strike Jug. Right on. Well, once we transition over into the POB section of the day, we'll see. I actually have one build that we're going to look at already because it's from a guildie, from a buddy. He's got some Necro questions about starting up a Necro, so we're going to look at that one first whenever we do transition over into that portion of the stream today.
It is not the strongest of the species that survive, but the one most responsive to change.
Look at all those Horizon shards. Oh my goodness. So good. How could I not have been picking those up? Just so good. So good. I guess I could be picking up engineers if I was like really super poor. I was like, I really need the engineering orbs. I like me some Horizon shards though. I should tell Phantasm. Phantasm, if you want to pick up too, man, feel free to pick up. Like, it should be on free-for-all loot. You should be able to see on stream what I'm going for. I'm just going for Ancient Orbs and Annulments and Horizon Shards. It's basically it. Exalted Shards as well. But try not to pick up too much. Six sockets as well, because I like to have Jewelers and Fusings. Man, everything's going to change when PoE 2 comes out. And we don't have Fusings anymore for items. Because gems are just naturally going to be 6-linked, or they're not going to be. That's going to be interesting. I'm going to be interested to see how they fix that. If they introduce a new currency that like re-rolls the sockets or re-rolls the links on a gem, that's going to be pretty dang interesting.
It is not the strongest of the species that survive, but the one most responsive to change.
Why, thank you. Thank you, Leonard. Leonard Nimoy. Shout out to Leonard Nimoy for helping us with our Loot filter sounds. Good guy, Leonard. Good guy, Mr. Spock. I think I have his voice line for most of the stuff that crafts stuff that I want to change. So like Orbs of Horizon, Fusings, Jewelers. Although I think I actually have something set up for 6-socket Jewelers that drop. I think that's Graves from League of Legends. It might not be though. I've probably already forgotten all that configuration. I was just doing it 15 minutes ago. You expect me to remember something for longer than 15 minutes? Ha! You don't know the level of struggle I have with remembering things. Hey, what's up, Diz? You look pretty good for a boomer iron. Why, thank you. You don't look a day over 50. Oh, thank you, my man.
Show me the map.
Show me the map, says Johnny Depp. Show me the map. Love me some Pirates of the Caribbean. My wife and I actually watched as many as we could on Disney Plus over the holiday period. We rewatched the videos because I was like, man, it would be really fun to watch Pirates of the Caribbean with the kids, don't you think, sweetie? She was like, no, it would not be. It would be bad. It is not a good, appropriate film series to be showing 8-year-olds and 4-year-olds. I'm like, really? Is it really that violent? Is it really that bad? And then we watched it, and sure enough, like the opening scene, is some pirate hanging from a gallows and skeletons, and like, yeah, I guess this probably would cause the kids a few nightmares. Yeah, you were right again, sweetie. Once again. All right, I think we Gucci here. What's up, XO Baddie XO? Welcome to the channel. Not sure if I've seen you in chat before, so welcome. And if I have seen you in chat before, I'm sorry. I have a terrible memory. PGB Hart says, does anybody know how the gems are going to work? Yes, we kind of do have a bit of an estimate of how they're going to work. But I'm going to read your scenario first and then answer your question. Example, if you wanted to 6-link Fireball, will you have to keep manipulating the gem somehow until it has 6 links? Will every Fireball gem you come across have 6 links open? No. So certain gems are going to have 6 links and certain ones aren't. Like, you're going to actually have to farm for your gems now. Like, gems are going to carry a lot more value to them. At least as presently released, at least as presently announced. PoE 2 gems do not have something that can alter them. So at the moment, we don't know. Like, there won't be a fusing equivalent that we know of. It hasn't been announced yet. I imagine that there will be, but it hasn't been announced. So that's part of what makes it so intriguing, is like, we're going to be farming for our gems. Like, we're actually genuinely going to be looking for gems. That's going to be a thing in PoE 2. It's really going to matter.
Rich, rich, rich.
So I think it'll be quite interesting. It'll reshape the way how we value gems. And I wonder if putting quality, yeah, I wonder if quality will impact it at all. But to answer your question, we don't know. We don't know. So we'll see. Oh, Cowshead says I was talking about the vendor's gamble. Gotcha. I see. I get the reference now. Michael asks, for the Defeat Bestiary boss challenge, can you buy the beast? Confused how to get that challenge done. Yeah, you can just buy the beast and then run it. Buy the beast and then run it. Dude says, I think that GGG will keep Jeweler's Orbs and skills will have RNG number of sockets on them. Yeah, that's been the announcement, right? Is that sockets will instantly mean fused, right? If something is socketed, like if something has 5 sockets on the gem, it will be 5 linked, right? So they're just planning on getting rid of fusings at the moment, not getting rid of Jewelers. That's the announced plan. I'm not sure if people are going to like that. I'm not sure if GGG is going to like that there's 2 different currencies. Like, we're going to go from spending 2 different currencies on 6 linking stuff down to 1. So it's almost like they're reeling in the amount of currency that we've got. Maybe it's one issue to address the currency bloat that is presently active in the game. I'm fully happily ready to admit to anybody that wants to say there's currency bloat in the game. Yeah, sure, there's currency bloat. But I think it's somewhat enjoyable. So, I rather enjoy it. Did Ellie Phantom leave the party because I missed a mirror drop? Is that why he left? He grabbed the mirror and left? Is that... Did I miss my mirror? Is that what I just saw? I'm teasing you, Phantasm. Teasing you. I'm just teasing. I'm not salty. We're not playing League of Legends. I'm not salty. Yeah, I think PoE 2 with its restructuring of currency and addressing some of the currency bloat could be interesting. One of the things that I like about all of the currency that we've got in PoE is it makes for so many tiers of trading. Like if you're too poor to trade exalts for something, you can trade chaos for something. If you're too poor to invest a whole bunch of chaos into something, you can trade fusings. If you're too poor to trade fusings, you can trade... Like, there's so many different layers of stuff that we can trade in PoE. And I really enjoy that. So... What's this? I missed a message. Zana missions for fragments and running Shaper is really profitable. Ooh, good call. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good strat. Use Zana missions for farming fragments and then running Shaper Elder. Sounds pretty profitable. Slightly turned down bloat would be nice. Yeah, I think what makes the bloat feel really bad at the moment is, at least from my perspective, I think the thing that makes the bloat feel the worst is not necessarily the bloat and picking up the bloat. It's that we don't have specific spots to store all of the bloat, right? A lot of the bloat, catalysts don't have their own spot right now. Legion incubators we don't have a spot for right now.
The species that survive. The one most responsive to change.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of this stuff. Like some stuff has got a specific spot for it in the currency tab. Some has got a specific spot in the fragment tab. Some has got a specific spot in the essence tab. But like I feel like that's good quality of life to have spots for currency that's available in game. So I don't feel like the bloat, having it drop in-game is bad. I feel like what feels bad is the fact that we don't have a spot to put it all. That's my opinion. Kirky says, what is currency bloat? Currency bloat I would define as being when new currency enters into Path of Exile and it maybe overlaps in some way other currency that you might use, right? So for instance, currency bloat that we've experienced this league is Exalted Orbs and the various influences of Exalted Orbs, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. Just because something is a bloat doesn't mean it's bad. Generally bloat is a negative term, right? But I see it as a good thing in some cases, right? So it's good that we have all of these targeted influence that we can now hit with these new Exalted Orbs. That's cool. I like that. That's very fun. However, because we've got these new Exalted Orbs, we don't have a spot to put them. So we've got a whole bunch of new Exalted Orbs that we'd like to trade, that we'd like to interact with, that we'd like to use, but they're not even necessarily available like for listing, like for trade, unless you just type in manually a code on your note. They're not supported in that way. They don't necessarily have a spot to put in your currency stash tab, which means they have to go in one of the random assortments of your tab. Same thing for catalysts. Catalysts are the same. We've got, what, 6 different types of new catalysts that come into play, which catalysts add quality to rings, which is cool. It's very, very cool that you can now add quality to rings and to amulets, right? That's cool. However, we've already got a lot of quality type currency in the game, right? We've got blacksmith stones, we've got armor smith stones, we've got glass baubles, we've got GCPs. Like, that's already 4 different types of currency for adding quality to something, right? So, again, that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but at a certain point, it does mean, okay, you don't need any more blacksmith stones, you don't need any more armor smith's whetstones or whatever, right? Like, it's just bloat at that point. If you were to say, okay, there's just one currency that just adds quality to anything, whether that's a gem or an item, it would certainly cut down on the amount of different stuff that could potentially drop. But because of that, it would also mean that there's less variance in the stuff that drops for you. You either got the thing that adds currency or that adds quality to your stuff, or you didn't. Whereas now, there's various degradations of it, right? There's various degrees of the quality currency that can drop, right? You could drop a blacksmith stone, you could drop an armor smith's stone or whatever, right? Or you could drop a GCP, right? That might be valuable at another level. Or you could drop a catalyst. That might be valuable at a whole other level. Similarly, you might drop a regular exalted orb, and that's worth something in terms of a trade, environment. Or you could drop one of these new specialized exalted orbs, and that's worth something different. So having varying degrees of currency, I think, is good, but it is nonetheless bloat, right? There's more stuff in the game that you've got to be aware of. I think it can be good for the economy. It can be good for new players because it means there's various degrees of stuff that players who are farming on the top end aren't necessarily going to want to farm or pick up. They're going to, exit out of their loot filter. And then there's other players who are absolutely going to go for it because they need it. So, yeah. All right, I think one more of these maps, and we should get our level 95. So that's pretty exciting. Let's turn these in. Hopefully that answers your question. What is bloat? We got more maps. I'm a map. I'm a map. I'm a map. Look at this. All of these ancient orbs that we have, by the way, are just pure ancient orbs from this run. So if these sell like 2 for 1x, then that's, I should actually list them. 2 for 1x. That's 6x already, just through the pure ancient orb drops. I'm not saying that it's profitable to run Beachheads, but I'm certainly saying, at least on this run, I've broken even, at the very least. Look at all these orbs of Horizon as well. I can use those. Gotten a bunch of exalted shards. Look at that. We actually have made 1 full exalted shard, or 1 full exalt, off of these runs alone. That's great. These need to come over here. Anything else that I want to do? These go here. Throw these in the drop tab. Don't really care. Okay. Let's grab our map. I'm a map. I'm a map. I'm a map. Theo Carl says, "Hi G3. Do you think it's still profitable to run labs for the sake of making money?" Depending on the base and depending on how fast you are, right? Those are the 2 things that are the factors for running lab. In order to run lab, you generate consistent currency with the treasure chests. That's the consistent currency that you will generate from opening up treasure chests and from doing full key runs. If you are looking for specific enchants on helms that it's going to make you a big amount of currency, yes, you can do that, but you're going to need a large pool, like you'll need a large sample size of runs in order to tell you that you'll actually make a ton of currency back off of it. The biggest problem with doing lab runs for making currency is the longevity and the speed of it. Yes, you'll make currency because technically the only cost of running the labyrinth is the offering, which an offering on any given day is like 3 to 5C, right? So are you going to make 3 to 5C by running the lab? Well, absolutely you will, pretty much every single time, by converting the currency that you get from the treasure chests back into chaos. Like, you're going to have no problem making that currency back. And then again, you're going to hit occasionally, lab enchants on helms that are going to be worth several exalts. The question is, how fast is your build in relationship to running the labyrinth versus running other content? Could you be running other content with a similar level of investment that you would enjoy that would be less risky, or that would be maybe more risky but also have a higher potential reward to it? So That's kind of the give and take on running lab is, hey, are you always going to succeed in running the lab? Because otherwise it's wasted time and wasted currency into the build and into the expenditure of the lab. But generally speaking, if you're building a lab runner, you're not going to die on traps. You're not going to die to a Zaro. You've dedicated your build to specifically farming that content. So you're going to be fine. When it comes to the cost side of things, it just really boils down to patience, to actually continually run the lab and learn the layout on any given day. In order to make it profitable, right? You will make a profit. The question is how profitable it is it to actually run? That depends on how fast your build is, on how many different helms and how many different enchants you can get to. If you're doing double enchant runs, like let's say you're using the prophecies, that give you 2 enchants per time you run through the trial, that's another cost that can go up. But again, that just means you've got twice as many chances to actually hit something that's valuable, so that's another good thing to invest in. So yes, it's always profitable to run the lab. The question is really not if it's profitable to run the lab, as opposed to do you have the patience in the build to do it. That's really what it boils down to. PG Hart says, are you for or against an auction house or automated trading? Oh my goodness. I've got a video on the topic. I do have a video on the topic. Let's see if I can't pull that video up. While our Harbinger is over here. We can just AFK on top of his staircase. Do we have a G3 auction house video? Let's see if it comes up. Yep, we do have an auction house video. So...
Hello.
It's 51 minutes. It's 51 minutes, PG. At PG. Here we go. Here is the video. Maybe we'll play that when I go for a break over lunch or something. It's 51 minutes of this bald guy talking about the auction house. I'm actually not bald in this particular video, though. This was one of the longer-haired moments. Not going to play it right now. We're going to keep running Beachheads, and then eventually we're going to get to your guys' POBs, but... Man. This is going to feel so good once we hit this level. Hit the level! Hit the level! Ding the level! Oh, we're almost there! Less than a mil! 5, 4, 3, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4. 2 8/9. Oh, are we gonna get it on the last kill of the final boss? Let's summon up some Vol Skeletons. Let's make this a big moment. Oh no, what if I die at 99%? We're nearly there! We're there! We did it! Yay! Alright, that's exciting. Alright, this guy wants to buy 2 for 94? Sure. Come on, come to my hideout, my friend. Meanwhile, we can go grab another, what, 10 intelligence? Now we'll grab this node. Armor and ES. Look at that. Look at that. 15k. Feels so good. Yeah, Diz, Bad Touch says, couldn't pick a more divisive topic. Yeah, I've got thoughts on it. I'm happy to share those thoughts. I just don't like to repeat myself if we've already made a video discussion on the topic. I generally like to refer back to that, because then I don't have to regurgitate 50 minutes worth of thoughts. It's actually one of the reasons why I started making YouTube videos and discussions was because we were having so many great discussions in Guild. And I was like, look, these are great discussions. I like having them, but I don't necessarily like repeating myself all the time. So it would be awesome if we had a mechanism to actually host discussions and keep a record of those discussions and then reference them in the future. I think that's one of the true benefits to humanity across the board of YouTube. Being able to reference something that... Being able to reference knowledge and call up knowledge that other people have had in the past very quickly. Look at all these horizon orbs we're going to make. So many. Oh, we got a convoking one too? Oh, and we got the shield piece. Woohoo! If we were SSF, we would actually care. Look at that! 2 exalted shards? That's pretty good. Yeah, these definitely paid for themselves. I think I've still got like 5 or 6 left. These totally paid for themselves, gave me the XP to push to level 95, and now we've got a character with 15,000 energy shield. That's exciting. I could actually, on my passive tree, by the way, I could redo these 4 points. And I think there's another jewel socket somewhere. Yeah, there's this jewel socket over here for 3 points. There's this one over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 points away, so I need 2 more levels for that. That's a ways away. This one's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 points away, so we can do that as well. So there's a couple of different options here. We could actually take some points out of this ES tree. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can take 6 points out, 7 points out, potentially. Go throw that into another jewel. Get another efficient training. Actually, I'm not sure if efficient training would matter much down here. We could do, what's the other one that's dex? Isn't there a dex to strength? Maybe there isn't. Maybe it's just efficient training. I think there's another one, though, that you can put in down there. I could always just go for more bronze. But then my intelligence is getting really close to the 242 limit, and I won't be able to use my my awesome convoking wand that gives me +2 to all spell, or +1 to all spell and +1 to minion. So that's a pretty awesome, pretty dang good wand that I got there. I got that for like 7x early on in the league. It was good.
It is not the strongest of the species that survive, but the one most...
Tess Seeger says, tuned in late. Any idea how much XP you get per map and how much money you made or lost? I was just actually covering this, Tess Seeger. We're definitely breaking even, if not making currency, on these beachheads. These are tier 15 beachheads. I bought 22 of them for like 8x yesterday. And then I think I've got 4 or 5 that are still left. We've made 1 pure X just off of Exalted Shards, or 1.2 pure X just off of Exalted Shard drops alone. And then we've made about 6 more X off of Ancient Orbs. And Ancient Orb drops and Ancient Orb Shards. And that's not including like Harbinger, what are they called? Horizon Orbs, which is a whole other thing that I just turned on today. I wasn't even picking those up yesterday. So, we have not had a pure Exalt drop, I don't think. I don't think we did. But, you know, every once in a while we'll have, like, a map or two that'll drop us a pure Chaos, etc. It's pretty nice. But yeah, these would definitely, I would definitely say that they paid for themselves, and it's very safe XP. I think I'm averaging like 6 to 7% XP per map. Is pretty much what I'm averaging. Alright, let's come out here to do this trade. How come you don't go for Ghost Reaver, says Zed? Because I think it's overrated. I know it would be good with the Baron, but I'm lame. Alright, what are we doing here? We are buying, or we are selling 132 of these. That's 50, that's 50, that's 32. It really wouldn't be bad. It would probably help me out considerably defensively to go Ghost Reaver, but it's so far away that I would rather just stack the flat ES. Call me lame, call me crazy. Because what is it? Is it 3 points away? Yeah, 1, 2, 3. It's 3 points away. So I could grab it, but I would lose a considerable amount of ES. So, it's an option. It is an option. I don't know what I would pull from, though. Where I would get those 3 points from. I could grab over here. Those of you wondering why, by the way, why did I come down here and grab this particular jewel node with the 8% mana? Because I am using this Watcher's Eye, which is gain 18% of maximum mana as extra maximum energy shield while affected by clarity. So we're getting, what is it? How much are we getting just because of clarity? We're right now 15. We're getting like 3k ES from using clarity and from the amount of energy shield that we're getting off of that. So yeah, it's pretty good. So we're using that. That's one of the reasons why we're using that. Amair Entertainment says, can I use the strength stacking for CI? I mean, that's literally what I'm using as well. Like you can see here on my passive tree, I'm CI up here, and our strength stacking right now is 2100. So, if I tell you no, I would be lying. Yes, you can use it. Your strength stacking in that regard won't help your HP, and a lot of players, I think Bad Touch actually in chat, goes quite well with that particular strategy of going hybrid, of going life plus energy shield. Sorry, I just had a mini stroke there. So it's quite nice. If you're going to go strength stacking and you do go hybrid between energy shield and life, it's quite nice. I want to say Bad Touch Diz, if you're in chat, Can you remind us how much you had effective on your Necro? I want to say he had like effectively 15 to 1600 or 16,000 effective HP because he had like 8 or 9k life and then like 5 to 7 energy shield. Like it was ridiculous how tanky he was. And it also means if you go hybrid, you have the benefit of getting to use life flasks if you still want to use them. And then obviously your Baron life leech will still apply to your life. So it's quite nice. Zed, you're saying you could grab Written in Blood? Where's Written in Blood? Show me. Show me. Where am I making my mistake here? Written in Blood. Where's Written in Blood?
It is not the strongest of the species that survive, but the one most...
Oh, that's increased maximum life, increased energy shield, and flat to strength. So yeah, that's 1, 2, 3. That's 3 points. But again, where am I going to pull that from? I could pull it from over here. I feel like I've already stripped so many of my minion damage nodes just to grab myself more strength. So, there we go. Bad touch response. Yeah, I went hybrid 10.4k ES and 5.7k life. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a very, very tanky boy. That's fantastic. Good luck trying to kill that guy. Alright, did I miss some over here in the top right? I think I did. Kids, if you want to be a good mapper, don't map like me. Don't try this at home. Alright, let's get out of here. What's this trade request? Oh, that's the one that we already did. Okay, go away. Let's empty out our inventory. Is this a unique that I need? Maybe? Asphyxias? Is that a good convoking wand? Meh. I level 84. Put it in the dump tab. Throw it in the garbage. Another tab full of garbage. So many tabs filled with garbage. Oh man, there's going to be so many tabs here in standard that are just filled with garbage. I'll sort them one day. Maybe. Okay, so to answer the question about beachheads, I still have 5 beachheads. So that means it took us 17 beachheads to go from 0 XP at level 94 to 1% XP at level 95. So that's how many it took. So what is that? 17 into 100? It's like 6%, just less than 6%. 5.8% per map on average is what we were getting. DMG says, what about Wicked Ward? Yeah, Wicked Ward is right here. I'm right next to it. I could grab it. It would be nice. It would be nice if I could grab Wicked Ward and Life Leech and the Ghost Reaver. That would be nice. My recharge rate would be absolutely awful at that point. What is my recharge rate? It's a good question. Energy Shield recharge per second is 6,000 per second. So if I cut that in half with this, that's 3,000. And then cut it in half again. I mean, it wouldn't stop. The regen wouldn't stop from taking damage. That would be nice, but no. Nope. Nope. That's going to be a no from me, dog. As Randy would say. That's going to be a no from me. How much is this worth right now, by the way? How many stacked decks am I actually sitting on? I think I'm sitting on a considerable amount. So I didn't pick up any of these Orbs of Horizon beforehand. Maybe I did. Maybe I had some in my stash tab, but I'm going to say at least like 30 of those are from those maps. I don't know what those are worth, if those are even worth a chaos or not at this point. Probably not. But I like having them so I can re-roll maps that I don't want to run. So Orbs of Horizon, Harbinger's Orbs, obviously. But that one I already had one of those. Hey, what are you doing here? You should be over here. You crazy little fragment. Okay, let's drop these here. Let's see how many exalts we've actually got right now. 18, 14, and if we sell them for 29 per, that's 62x. So we've got 62x plus 59 is 121. And then what, 1571 divided by what, 190 is what they're at right now. So that's 8x. So we've got 8x plus 62 plus 59. We got like 130x is basically what we're sitting on right now. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Tess Seeger says, I'll probably try running a few beachheads. I need one more point to fit my second inspired learning in and keep dying randomly in maps. Yeah, I mean, beachheads are super safe. DMG Art says, I need to join your guild bank. My guild is dead. I murdered half of them for Chaos Orbs. Ooh. How many Chaos Orbs did you get for murdering your guildies? Sounds like something I should get into. I mean... I didn't say that. Yeah, the guild bank is fun. We only generally run it usually within the first month of the league, so it's not ongoing right now. This is actually all just genuinely my own currency. None of it is guild currency. I wouldn't be playing if I was still running the guild bank. If I was still running the guild bank, I would just be sitting here flipping because I feel obligated to make other people currency when they've handed me their currency. That's a personal problem that I have. I feel obligated. If I'm tasked with doing something, I ought to get it done. Let's see what ancients are going for right now. They're just above 2 to 1. They're just above it. Okay. So if I said you pay 5 and you get 11, I could do that. What, you pay 5 for 11? Yeah, I'd be happy with that. Yeah, I forgot to include Ancient Orbs, so we're actually over 130. 130 in terms of our total X of what we've got. That's kind of nice. Well, I think at this point, let's do this. Let's run out these last 5 beachheads, but let's do it with my Poet's Pen build. Yeah, there's 5 here. Yeah, there's 5 of these here. Okay, so let's do that. Let's swap over to Poet's Pen. This has been fun with the Necro. The Necro got up to 15k ES. That's what we wanted to do today. It's actually what we wanted to do yesterday, but I just didn't have the time. So let's swap over. Oh, let's crash, because PoE always crashes now whenever we go to the login screen, right? All right, let's drop over to Wagon Witch Draconis. Let's make this happen. DMG says, do you do party play? I generally don't do party play when I'm on stream because I don't want to lag the stream. It hurts your experience of enjoying the stream when I play in party play. I crash more often. It's more frustrating. I tilt easier. I'd rather just play solo. The POB help part, when is that going to be? It's going to be later on today. Whenever I say, okay, now is the time to do it, that's when we're going to do it. Good question. Taco Mage says, second 6 link for bows, I usually set up as either a range totem to spray ailments, blind, maim, etc., or I get crazy with Herald of Ice. Yeah, Herald of Ice on a 6 link is fun. Mana reservations go nuts, but yeah. We can try it, Diz. We can try it. As soon as I get laggy, I'm gonna kick you from party, though. Hey, dude just says, just dropped an X in Delve. Very nice. Very nice. King B says, I always know when I put X on the market if I price too low because I get like 40 messages the second I post it. That is the truth, my friends. The sad truth. Everybody's going to jump on you as soon as you mislist something. Alright, so let's do 5 beachheads here on this guy. And let's see how it goes. Wait, are you Flicker? Wait. Are you Flicker or Cyclone? He's going to go so fast. He's level 93 Cycloner. Diz, you're going to go so fast. You're going to go so fast. Oh, man. Alright, here we go. Let's see what tier 15 beachheads do to this build. I don't know. This build might just straight up die right away. This build is considerably less tanky than the Necro. So we'll see what it does. We'll see what the results of this are. Almost certainly there will be more deaths now. Almost certainly. Well, actually, there were no deaths on the Necro. So, yeah, this is actually certain. There will be deaths. Ha! Alright, do I have all my stuff up? I have none of my stuff up. Wow, look at my computer. It already hates me. Alright, so we can go... Let's go with this version. Well, this is the body swap version, presently. We're using body swap with Volatile Dead in order to make us look like we're actually cool and jumping around. Whenever we bump into a Harbinger, we can actually swap. We can weapon swap. And it'll go much, much slower. Yeah, look at this. This is just going to carry this with his Savior Cyclone build. I don't. I'm actually the XP leecher here in my own map. Holy moly!
It is not the strongest of the species that survive,
Ah!
but the one most responsive.
Oh man, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I just need to stay back and let his Savior Cyclones. Oh my gosh, this is wrecking. This is wrecking my computer. Oh, there's an Exalted Shard. Woo! Let's see. Is there anything up here to kill? This is pretty fantastic. I thought the Volatile Dead shredded my computer. No, the Savior apparently shreds my computer even more. That's pretty great. I like it though. The amount of damage that he's doing makes it basically impossible for me to die. So that's good. I'm just here to leech XP. Just give me the nice XP, good sir. Oh yeah, look at that XP. That XP's crazy. Woo! 390? Jeez. What is this? This is eye level 82, so until we're level 92, this is just going to give us insane XP. I like it. Does the way how the Savior works that it's going to trigger the reflection every time you crit? So, like, it's going to resummon a guy even if he's flying around attacking something? Is that the way how that works? I'm going to crash. Did I crash? No, I didn't. Okay. Whew! There's a Harbinger. I'm going to totally crash once we go into the boss room. It's going to happen.
It is not the strongest of the species that survive.
Alright, let's see if we can do the boss. Here we go. We're close. Yeah, my computer actually likes Volatile Dead compared to the Cyclone. My computer's like, oh, look, I can handle this. Oh, that's great. Alright, let's pop open our portal. And then let's stand over here to get the Harbinger to come out. And then we just stand here and we summon a whole bunch of Volatile Dead. I am not Wise-Oaked on this particular build. So those of you wondering if I'm Wise-Oaked on my resistances, I am not. My resistances are 96, 127, 121. I didn't want to bother with it. I am what? Almost 7k life. Not quite. 6.9k life. And then 2000 energy shield. So it's a relatively tanky character, but not nearly obviously as tanky as the Necromancer. It's relatively tanky. But most of the defenses on this Poet's Pen build are the fact that stuff should be dead by the time it actually gets summoned. That's the goal, at least. That's most of the goal. Is, hey, you minions, you stay over there. You monsters, stay over there. I'm going to stay over here. Volatile Dead, go take care of those bad guys. That's most of the theory of this build. Alright, let's go do this trade. What is it, 145 for 5? I think that's what it was. $145 for 5. Let's see, is he a scammer? Are we getting scammed? He's not a scammer. He's a genuine person trading me 5 Exalted for 145 stacked decks. Thank you, sir. Have a good day. I like it when people are genuine. Alright, let's see if we crash upon re-entry. Yes, no? Whoa, goodness. Maybe not crash, but maybe die. I can't quite AFK this portion of the build for this build. Dude says, can I join your Beachhead to showcase my build before POB help? No. I'm sorry, dude. The answer is no. Oh, wow. We got a Harbinger's Orb here. That's nice. I'm only letting 1 or 2 people from Guild come in to share XP as we do these, because otherwise I will crash. So, when we do the POB help section, we'll just be looking at POBs. That's what we'll be looking at. Alright, what else? Harbingers, Horizons, okay. Second half of the map, let's go. Let's swap over to our body swap. Right on. One of the things that I love about Poet's Pen Body Swap is that it's kind of like the caster version of Flicker Strike. It's a little bit, well, it's considerably slower, right? Considerably slower than Flicker Strike. However, it's got a good amount of mobility if you just want to stay, you know, holding down one key and zip around the map. It's kind of nice. It is a bit dangerous, though. It is a bit dangerous if monsters are actually deadly. You might accidentally just body swap into the middle of a pack that, you know, has got extra fire damage and extra crits and frenzies. It can be quite scary. So this map didn't quite get us a level, but the next one should ding us a level, I think. We're probably getting like 15 to 20% XP off of these maps. It's a considerable amount of XP. And relatively safe. There have been, what, 2 moments where I've almost died?
Show me the map.
So, haven't died yet. Oh, get out of there. Speaking of haven't died.
Show me the map.
Another map. Oh my goodness, Johnny Depp is just going crazy over here.
Much better.
Exalted Shards? Woohoo!
But the one most responsive to
Look at all this money. This is great. Yeah, I would not recommend doing Beachheads to make money, because there's far faster ways to make money. It's just nice to know that it actually pays for itself. That part's nice. At least it paid for itself at the prices that I purchased at yesterday. You never know. You never know. The market adjusts, right? So you never know. Anything up here? Man, that's gotta feel so good to just cyclone and then have a reflection of yourself flying around killing everything. Although I'm not sure if I ever could play a savior build. Just because my computer wouldn't be able to handle it. Also, the fact that Savior summons the copy for you, like, man, when you crit, like, that's a pretty reliable mechanism for bossing. That's quite nice. Diz, you're making me want to try out a Savior build. Not gonna lie, you're making me want to try it. I don't have the currency, though. I'm too poor. Too poor to try the Savior build. What am I doing here? Here we go. That was a pretty good map. That was a pretty good map. Alright, what's the next one? We've still got 4 more of these to go. Level 89, 89%. Making a good amount of XP here. Taco Mage says, number of deaths has nowhere to go but up. 2OP says, aloha. Aloha, my friend. Welcome, welcome. Great to have you here. James says, definitely would crash the stream. Yeah, if I start playing a Savior build... Oh no, where's Diz? Diz, TY for XP. Definitely would crash the stream if I was running that Savior build. Oh, especially in the Harbinger encounter. Yikes. My poor little hamsters inside my computer are just screeching for a break right now. Please give us a break! Please, Master! I would like to just for a moment stop running on my hamster treadmill. For just a moment. Oh, that guy's hard hitting. Yikes, get away. Those tigers sometimes, man, those tigers can hit you pretty hard. So the Vault of Flame Dead, at least from what I was getting hit by on my Necro, the Vault of Flame Dead was doing 3 to 5k. So conceivably I could get hit by a Vault of Flame Dead and then something else and die on this build.
It is not the strongest.
So I would rather not do that.
But the one most responsive to change.
Rather not lose the XP, right? Rather just gain the XP. I think this build for me is probably my most fun build to play in the Delve. I love to do Delve Azurite missions because you can just find a spot, find a corner, and then just stand there and spam vault it away. You can also play this as a cremation build, actually. If I'm going to ever, like, POB theorycraft something live, to answer a question that Cowsed asks earlier, like, it would be a max projectiles build. I would just want to see, like, how many projectile builds we could make. Or how many projectiles, like, what's the most amount of projectiles that we could actually stack onto something. And I think cremation might have a decent shot, because it fires a base of 47 projectiles, I think, during its duration. Then again, Icicle Mine might be up there as well. There's a lot of projectiles off of there. But I think that would be fun to theorycraft, like, kind of like what we did with the how much energy shield can you get to, or how much life can you get to. We've done 2 videos on that. It'd be kind of fun to do that with a with projectiles. Like, how many projectiles? What's the most amount of projectiles that we can pump out in the game? I think that'd be a fun thing to research and test out. Might not be a fun thing for the computer to experience, but but it'd be interesting. Flamestorm or Firestorm? Is it Firestorm? I forget the spell. There's a storm spell that actually calls down a whole bunch of projectiles, and I think it's the very first, like, boss that you meet on the beach on the way to do Nessa's quest that actually brings down Firestorm. I think that spell in particular really causes a lot of players to chug on their computers, so that might be an interesting one to see how many projectiles we can get spammed out on that one. Be kind of interesting. Tora says, you love Flicker, right? Savior makes Flicker the best thing on the planet. There you go. Hey, there we go. Level 90. Why are you showing me the Incursions help page now that I've hit level 90? That's kind of funny. What am I even going to do with this passive point? I actually don't know. Maybe I'll get some more HP. Go over 7k HP. When in doubt. I don't think there's that much spell damage I can grab at the moment. I think spell damage, the rest of the good spell damage nodes are a few passive points away from me. Yeah, well, I won't grab 5% life down there. I've already got the Silent Life wheel filled out. Maybe I'll grab a jewel socket? Maybe? Maybe I can restructure some of my passive points to grab a better jewel socket. Huh. This build, by the way, uses Tailwind Boots. If you were wondering. Tailwind Boots are good. I know that was like the POB question of the day yesterday. Are you using rare boots? If yes, are you using Tailwind? If no, why not? These particular Tailwind boots, they're nothing spectacular. They don't have move speed on them. They're just like some resistances and then Tailwind. But it's nice. Tailwind is nice. And we're critting a whole bunch. And by a whole bunch, I just mean really we're just critting like once every 8 seconds, because that's all we need to do in order to proc Elemental Overload. So I think it's once every 4 seconds to proc Tailwind, and then once every 8 seconds to proc Elemental Overload. How are we not dead yet? Man, Spirit Offering is doing work over here. Oh, on cast when damage taken. Jinkies. Are we on the final guy yet? No, not yet. Alright, what is this?
Oh, they just are debating.
Oh, they're debating, okay. Ooh, am I gonna die here? Oh, close.
I have a 110 appointment. How long should I give myself to park?
Today?
Yeah.
I
leave at 12:15.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm making lunch. I'll be leaving at 12:15.
Alright. Alright, well there you go. We will have time to get to 2 Path of Buildings today. That's going to be what we're going to do. And then I will probably stream some more later on today as well. So we'll do 2 Path of Buildings right here and right now. There's going to be one of them that I've already got that's slated. And then I think I've got one more that was slated from... Oh, we died. I was talking. I shouldn't be talking. That's depressing. Alright, so we're going to get to 2 Path of Building characters at the moment. After this Beachhead map is done. One of them is going to be from a friend, K-Trim. We're going to take a look at his build. He is wondering about getting a build going for a Necromancer. He does not have a Necromancer yet in this league, and so he's interested in trying out a Necromancer. So we're going to take a look at a build that was recommended to him and see if it's interesting and make some comments on that. And then there's one POB from yesterday that we were going to try to get to that we didn't get to. So we're going to get to that during this particular portion of the stream. Wow, that's a lot of monsters. Get rid of those monsters, dude. And then later on today, when we stream for a second stream today, we will get to more of your POBs. So if you are waiting eagerly for that section of our day where we will look at your POBs, that will be coming later on in the day once Mrs. Draconis is done with her various scheduled doctor's appointments and checkups for the newest baby.
It is not the strongest of the species that
Look at
is
this,
not,
exalted
but the one
shards.
most responsive to change.
Man, this is like a consistent source of actually X shards. This is kind of crazy. I should actually start using X shards when people list something for like 1.2x. I should just give them X shards instead of chaos. Forget the chaos conversion system altogether, just use X shards. The problem is you only can store 20 X shards or 19 X shards, right? In your currency tab, and on the 20th one it turns into an X. So, okay, what were we going to do with this passive point? This looks pretty good down here. This looks pretty good over here. Do I have any more fire damage that I can grab? Oh, look at that, 12% more fire damage. I think I've got most of the fire damage. Oh, that's increased elemental, and then increased effect of non-damaging ailments, which would be shock and chill, which I'm doing both of. Is this a whole bunch of... This is 12% increased 12% increased elemental, and then fire spells have 15% of physical damage converted to fire. Do I actually have that much fire damage on this, though? Or, I'm sorry, that much physical? Like, what a stupid question. Does Volatile Dead have fire damage? Yeah, it's just fire damage. It's not physical, so that wouldn't be a bonus. We could go for the AoE. That's fire damage, but that's only 6%. That's a pathetic amount of fire damage. This is all fire damage, but this is also fire damage over time, leading up to the Ignite. Oof, Snowforge. That's a lot of damage. I should totally enchant my my thing with that. Problem is that this is my talisman, and it's a ridiculously good talisman. You guys might not think it's ridiculously good, but it's actually pretty good for this build. When I've actually gone and looked on the market for better talismans than this, or better amulets, like, it's really tough to come by. Like, I think there were only like 4 that were even on the in the entire game that were better in terms of the damage that they were giving. Because it's what, 25% increased fire damage and then 22% spell damage. Like, it's good, and it also includes a 1 resist plus a decent life roll. Gets a good amount. Arsonist, that seems good. 24% increased fire damage. That's a ways away though. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oof, that's 4 points away. I could get rid of those 4 points. Could get rid of these 4 points. I could actually get rid of these 2 points here. I could just put 1 passive point here, right? Yeah, and that'll save me 2 passive points. I can count. Can I count? I can kind of count. Let's go grab some respecs. That should be 2 passive points that we can use right there. 1, 2. There we go. Look at that. Now we got 2 passive points. This is fire. That's 6% fire. That's 8% and 10% chance to ignite. Yeah, but I'm not igniting, right? I'm using elemental focus. So, are there any other spell damage that I could grab? This is with a shield, though. Yeah, that's a staff. Yeah. I could just come over here and retool the entire character and become low life, you know. Just retool the entire character, that's all. No biggie. That's staff damage. Oh yeah, this is the block chance. We could go block chance. Oh yeah, that's spell damage while dual wielding. Yeah. This is crit strike chance for spells and then crit multi. I could get rid of elemental overload, but the damage drops off so considerably, and you have to redo your entire tree if you go crit. Like, you're going to end up with the majority of your tree over here on the right-hand side as soon as you go crit. That's totems. I don't think there's any spell stuff down here. I think we're doing pretty good. %24 increased damage while in full energy shield. Oh boy. That's physical damage increase. That's minions. Minions have a chance to block. Oh boy. How terrible is that? These are all pretty terrible options. TBH. With 2 more passive points. I might just go area of effect. And then area damage. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do for now. These are just base spell damage. Man, those are terrible. Look at that. Ugh. Ugh. Look what my Doriani does. Turns useful nodes into terrible nodes. What's this one? More block chance. I don't care about block chance. I'm playing softcore. Come on now. Isn't there a power charge node over here? I thought there is. Power charge. Yeah. Gain a power charge when you block. Yeah. No, it's down here there's the frenzy charge generation. Where is it? Where is it? Can I remember it? No, I can't remember it. Here it is, Master Sapper. Yeah, you gain frenzy charge when your trap is triggered. Well, this is quite a bummer. I think we're just gonna go with 2 points for now into like some generic defensive nodes. Ooh, increased mana. Oh, that's what we were thinking about. We were debating about Arcane Capacitor, actually. Because look at that. That's 10% more spell damage. And it's the increased effect of it. I remember this. I was looking at this the other day. And that's only 1 point away. I think that's what we're going to do. So if I go here and here... Yeah. Then I just have to figure out where to fit Arcane Surge, right? Fit Arcane Surge right here instead of faster casting. I think that's what I'm going to do. I think it's like level 1 Arcane Surge whenever I Flame Dash. Increased effect of Aura's skills would be really nice because I do use Anger and Herald of Ash, so that would actually be a decent amount of damage. Okay, enough of this. I'm talking too much about my own stuff. Let's go and take a look at, what is it? 2 different builds here that we wanted to take a look at today before we go eat lunch. So, this first one... Okay, so this first one is a question from K-Trim. Alright, so we're going to grab a build that he is getting recommended from a buddy. So here's the build that he's getting recommended. Okay, this is what he says. Where was this? Here's his quote. How can I do this quote so that way it's nice and viewable? I can put it into a notepad. Let's do that. Old-fashioned notepad. You guys remember notepad? Back in my day, we used to use notepad. Alright, so let's use notepad. And let's... Oh, goodness. How do I make it so that way it doesn't... Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Do I have to do this for everything? Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. This is ridiculous. Okay, but at least it's readable. At least it's more readable now than what it was. Alright, so this is what K-Trim says. We'll read it here just in a moment. Alright. Make it a little bit wider. There we go. Now we can all see it. Chat, can you guys see that? Hopefully you guys can see that. Alright, so let's see what we can do to help K-Trim out. Hey Iron, I'm thinking of running a Necro build as my last one for the league. I don't have a ton of currency, but I was able to turn 2 Chelula Breachstones pure and sell for profit, so currently sitting on 6x. Okay, so 6x, that's our budget. 6x. I'm getting conflicting info from people as to what type of Necro build I should run. One very vocal viewer said I have to go strength viewing with a ton of uniques. I am not at all that keen on having uniques for every gear slot except for 2 unset rings and a Stygian Vise. Here is the build. Okay, so that's the paste bin that we're going to look at here in a second. As well as needing more gem slots than is possible to make it the perfect build, my biggest fear is lack of resistances, especially chaos. Okay. Another viewer and friend recommended a different approach. So here's a forum thread, so we'll look at this in just a moment. We're going to pull this up on a tab. We'll see which Necro build this is. Chances are I've probably seen it. Okay, yeah, it's Viperesque's. Yep. Which is good. Viperesque does a good job with his build guides. I like this one as it is as it is very flexible with the gear and I can run on 0 uniques. However, I'm not sure about using specters because of having to find the best specter in the process of resummoning them whenever they die. Okay, so we've got a user who's got 6x on a budget who doesn't necessarily want to use specters. All right, so we're keeping those 2 preferences in mind. One last issue, and this is just my ability to play the game. I have a hard time remembering to keep my flasks going. So when you add other skills that need to be constantly or situationally run on top of 1 or 2 main skills, I end up dying much more than necessary due to my own forgetfulness. Okay, interesting. With all that in mind, should I even be looking at a minion build, or should I be looking at a less complex skill set? Okay, so here's the good news, K-Trim. So the good news is that you're not flask dependent if you go CI. You're not flask dependent for staying alive. You're just not. In general, you need your flasks when you're going CI. Like if you're going to get hit by something, by a big physical damage source, then you're going to, smash your basalt flask. Or your, flat, I forget what it's called, but 3,000 to armor flask. Like, you might smash those as your utility flasks. But other than that, you're not necessarily dependent on your flasks, right? So when you add other skills that need to be constantly or situationally run on top of the 2 main skills, I end up dying much more than necessary. For minion builds, and I've just showcased this over the last, hour and a half to 2 hours, and even during yesterday's stream, if you're running a minion build, you can basically AFK a lot of the game once you've got your gear set up. So that's the advantage of it, right? Once you've summoned your zombies, once you've got your specters going, if they're support specters, like they're not going to die because they're linked with minion life, and you've got so much minion life, they're just not going to die. They're very, very rarely going to die. So, yeah, that's one suggestion that I would make. Okay, this particular build he says it's level 88, but he's got 118 points spent. So we're going to bump this up to level 95. There we go. I can count. 95. Okay, so this is a minion strength stacker. That's why he's coming down here and he's grabbing all this stuff. Otherwise, he would stay pretty much up in the top left-hand side of the tree. So it's going to be a strength stacker. He's using at least 2 efficient trainings. Yeah, he's using 2 efficient trainings. He's using a Watcher's Eye. Nope, he's using a Brawn. How many other Brawns is he using? Let's see here. Let's look at his items. So he's using a Queen's Escape for his weapon. Okay. That's fine. That's a relatively cheap unique that you can get. What is a 6-link Queen's Escape going for right now? Let's see. Let's look at this real quick. Queen's Escape. Queen's Escape with a 6-link. So a whole bunch of greens on there. Huh. It's going for 5x. 5 to 6x. So basically, if you do this as a 6-link, there goes your entire budget. If you do this as a 5-link, it's like 115 chaos, so it's less than an X. Okay? So that's our first point. Okay? That's the first point. So you don't need to have a 6-link. And seriously, you don't. Like, unless you're running tier 15s and 16s, you don't need to have a 6-link. Like, I was clearing on a 4-link the vast majority of this league on a strength stacking Necro. I was sharing space between my zombies and my skeletons onto a 5-link for the vast majority of this league, and then once I had tons and tons of currency, I eventually went out and crafted a 6-link, but that wasn't until I had tons and tons of currency. Okay, the helmet is the Baron, of course. The body armor is using a Joffrey's, of course, Shaper's Touch, Albrons, and Instrumentus. Yeah. This build guide that your buddy sent you, or that your viewer sent you, whoever sent you this K-Trim, just FYI, this is going to be one of the more expensive versions of this particular build. You don't need to go this expensive. Like, it gets expensive because each one of these Brawn Jewels is worth several hundred chaos to X. Each one of these efficient training jewels is worth several hundred chaos to an X. And the build continues to scale its strength based on how many of these jewel sockets that you take. He's just over 1100 strength on his total build, which in my opinion is worth it to use the Baron, because then you're getting your 1000 strength and you're going to leech, but you're only getting 3 additional zombies from that. So you can go with the Baron build and you can stack like 1000 strength or so, but I personally would not recommend it. This particular build that he sent you is not going to work for your 6x budget. I'm just letting you know. Okay, so let's come over and take a look at Viperesques. So Viperesque's build, which this is the one that you also sent us on the notepad, this is what you had to say. What you had to say here was recommended a different approach. Yes, so this different approach is what you're looking at, because 6x is not enough to run the strength stacking with all the jewels that you need and the gear that you need. Even, again, just to put it in perspective, even if you don't go Queen's Decree and you go Convoking Wand, like my top end Convoking Wand was 7x, and that was weeks ago. I don't know what they're like presently. Let's actually find out. Let's find out what a decent Convoking Wand is now. It might only be a few X. Convoking Wand, and let's just say it's got minion gems, right? Plus the level of all minion gems. Let's say it's got just that stat on it. It's 70x, or not 70x, 70 chaos, 70 to 100 chaos. So that's already much more affordable, and you don't have to 5-link it or 6-link it, right? That's already much more affordable from the get-go. So that's an option, right? That's just something to keep in mind. All right, so Viperesque, let's go and take a look at his pros and cons. His pros say the easiest million DPS you'll ever make. He's absolutely right. I've looked at this build before. He does a great job with this build. The build does over 1 million DPS with literally no other gear other than sockets and links, no temporary buff, no POB trickery. See for yourself. That POB link has no items, no utility gems, and no buffs or config options other than Feeding Frenzy. And it deals 100k DPS per skeleton with 10 skeletons. That equals 1 million DPS. So it's quite nice. Okay, you can genuinely play this on a budget. Cheap. You can do all the content on self-found gear without struggling. But of course, you've got 6x worth of a budget, so you'll be able to scale it up. This is fairly good scaling. At the time of writing, I have approximately 5 million DPS and SSF Blight with decent gear. Entirely physical damage, so no issue with high boss elemental damage resistance or elemental reflect maps, which is nice. You do have to watch out for physical reflect maps, because otherwise your zombies are just going to run around, slam stuff, and then instantly die. You have to resummon them. So depending on whether you're going zombie or skeleton version, just be aware of that. Easily very tanky. This build doesn't use auras for damage, so you can go mind over matter and get 8 to 10k effective HP. Hey, K-Trim, you were saying you were worried about dying and maybe whether or not you're paying attention or not to something, or whether or not you're paying attention to your flasks or having multiple things coming at you. This is a solution to it. You go MOM, you get 8 to 10k HP, and you're still alive. It can do all content, although Fizz Reflect is slow. Surprisingly good at lab running. Okay, so the cons. What are the cons? This is the perfect build in the world, and there are no cons. No, there's cons. Viperesque says clear speed isn't going to be quite as good as screen clearing specters or golems, and is significantly below the top tier speed clear builds like Tornado Shot. So you haven't mentioned anything about speed. Yeah, cannot find speed. You didn't mention anything about speed in your requirements, so this is fine. So the fact that it's a con isn't really a con for you, because it's not an evaluative metric that you're using for your build. Next up, reliant on flasks to speed up life and mana recovery. Okay, this could be a big deal, because you've said, hey, I'm really worried about using flasks. So that is something to consider, right? If you get hit with, and you're using MOM, then of course using a massive mana flask to regen your mana is going to be helpful, right? Again, it's not required, but it's helpful. So I would just say this is something that you can look at and say, ooh, I might actually have to use my flasks. It's Path of Exile. If you can use your flasks, then it's going to help your survivability. I know that that's something that you were worried about, K-Trim, but that's just something to realize. And then minion playstyle is not to everyone's liking. You might find out, K-Trim, I know you've played a lot of melee builds in the past. You might find out that you just don't like minion playstyle, but if you're going to play it, now is the time to play it. There's never been a better time to play a minion build. Okay, so let's go ahead and import this particular tree. Let's go back and don't save. Let's do a new tree. We'll import Viperess's tree, and we'll take a real quick look here at his tree. Okay, so you can see it's a life-based tree right off the bat. His life is 5,900. His total mana is 22, and so he's MOM, which means when you combine that up, what are we at? 2237 plus 5935. We've got 8k effective HP. Okay, that's what you're sitting at. So 8k HP. Does that sound tanky to you? That sounds tanky to you? Then good. In terms of your elemental resistances, you've got 75, 75, 75, so that's great. If you really want to get expensive, then you can always anoint your amulet with Soul of Steel. That's going to put you up to 76 across the board. If you would like to, that's an option. Other than that, over here on your items, this is all self-found stuff. Like, look at this. This is not fantastic stuff. Here's +1 to level of all minion skills, and then increased elemental damage with attack skills. You don't even care about that. Int, and then crafted minions deal damage, right? So you can go buy a Convoking Wand for like 75 to 100C, and there's your wand. In your offhand, you can do it again, right? So that's 200C into the build. Your helmet, you're just looking for something that's got +2 or more level of socketed minion gems. You can probably find that as a base item right now with just the +2 to socketed, and then you can craft whatever else you need on there. You can probably find that for relatively cheap, like 20 to 30C at most. If you wanted to have tier 1 resistances, as well as life, then of course your price is going to go up from there, but that's probably pretty affordable again at this point in time. On his chest piece, just look for a 6-link. Like, just look for a 6-link with the right colors for you. And then if it's got life on it, that's great. If it's got the open spots that you can craft on there, an additional zombie or skeleton, then that's great. That's going to help your DPS. It's going to help your survivability because you're going to have a bigger army. But other than that, you're just looking for life and resistances on your chest piece. On your gloves, more life and resistance. Hey, are you starting to detect a theme here? This is one of the reasons why so many players who are playing SSF go with a minion build as their default build or as their league starter in SSF in order to build up currency and then swap over to another build, because the amount of stuff that's required for this build is like just basic gear that you want life, you want resistances, and you need stats for gem requirements in order to use gems. Like, that's what summoners are. Now, you can scale it up. You can get really expensive and go really, really crazy like the previous build that we just looked at, Katrim. But this is a really, really solid build to start off with. So I'd highly recommend this one for you based on the requirements that you've said. Spirit Dash, Ambush Boots. These are just move speed boots, and then they've got a little bit of life on them and then some crafted life, which is nice. And then other than that, Amulet. Hey, look, you're looking for elemental resistances, and then if you can craft a minion stat on there, that's nice. Other than that, he's got allocates Indomitable Army. What is Indomitable Army over here? Where is it? Here it is. What is this? Is this the resistance one? Yeah. Violet oil, crimson oil, silver oil. It's increased life, increased physical damage reduction, increased elemental resistances, and then moving while bleeding doesn't cause minions to take extra damage. So that's quite nice. It's helpful for your minions to stay alive. Again, that's not really that expensive. Violet, crimson, silver. It's nowhere near as expensive as something like Whispers of Doom or Soul of Steel, which is golden, 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 or Whispers of Doom, where is it? Which is black, golden, golden. So it's not that expensive. It's not the most expensive, but again, if you're purchasing an amulet that's already got that on there, it's going to include the price in there, so it's going to make it a little bit more pricey. Rings, you're just looking for life, mana, and then resistances on both of these things, and then on your belt, life and resistances, like as well as any kind of stats that you need. So that's what you're looking for. In terms of your flasks, hey, you're looking for a bleed flask. You're looking for a cast speed flask. That's interesting. That's probably most likely to help with casting of zombies as well as with Flame Dash. And then you're looking for a Quicksilver flask of Adrenaline, so that way you go really, really fast. You're looking for Freeze Immunity because you don't have that off of your Ascendancy. And then you're looking for an Enduring Mana flask because as you're taking hits from your MOM, you're gonna absolutely want to have the mana actually recharging and constantly going, because essentially it's like life that is on a delay. It's like life regen that's on a delay if you've got an Enduring Mana flask that's going while you're MOM. Now, if you want to scale up any of this, if you find any of the uniques that you need to transition this into a more expensive build, you can. But this is still really, really good. When you look at each of these minions that he's got here, he's got average minion damage is 1.3 million per summoned skeletons. That's really, really good. On his skills, his setup, he's using Carrion Golem with Brutality, Maim, and Feeding Frenzy. This is, by the way, the best setup that I have found personally for Necros presently is to use your Carrion Golem to actually proc Feeding Frenzy. Because if you put it in your zombies or in your skeletons, it's wasting a slot, and them procking Feeding Frenzy doesn't necessarily give them that big of a boost when you consider the amount of damage that they're getting. So it's just a 15% more multiplier, whereas you've probably got another gem that you can fit in for your zombies or your skeletons that's more than just that for socketing Feeding Frenzy. So you summon your Carrion Golem, you make sure that they're supported by Feeding Frenzy, they proc Feeding Frenzy, which then benefits all of your golems. Or not all of your golems, all of your minions across the board with the Feeding Frenzy buff rather than with the 15% more multiplier. It's quite nice. Also, if you socket in Maim with your Carrion Golem, that's quite nice because they do their big AoE attack and that can maim everything, and that's going to help with the damage of either your zombies or your skellies. He's got Ray Zombie on a 4-link with Meat Shield, Minion Life, and Brutality. So again, going physical here. If you want to change something up because your DPS needs to go higher because you're really worried about it, K-Trim, you can. You can always put on Pride. You can take off MOM so that way you're not losing damage for your mana and you can reserve a whole bunch of your mana. That's what my guy does, is he uses Pride along with Clarity. And then I think that's it, actually. Yeah, I think maybe there's one more. Oh, Discipline. That's what I use as well for Energy Shield. But you can absolutely put a Pride on there. And then when you're standing close to a Metamorph or standing close to a boss, it actually acts as a stacking more multiplier when you get Pride. And something is in your AoE. Nearby enemies are taking increased damage. That's quite nice. He's got Enfeeble, cast when damage taken, and Spirit Offering. That's great. That's going to give us a whole bunch of extra life with Spirit Offering. You can, of course, go with the Cyclone, cast while channeling, Spirit Offering setup if you'd rather do that on your boots. Fortified boots aren't that expensive. You can get level supported, socketed gems are supported by level 20 Fortify, and then you put in there, you put Desecrate, you put Cyclone, you put Spirit Offering, and then you put cast while channeling, and then you're constantly channeling Desecrate, and you're constantly channeling when you're using your Cyclone to move around. So it's quite nice. So you're constantly getting the regen off of Spirit Offering as opposed to just getting it whenever you're using your cast when damage taken setup. So it's quite nice. Ray's Spectre. He's probably using the Spectres on these. Where are his Spectres? He's probably going to be using Host Chieftains. That would be my assumption here, would be Blood Chieftains, Host Chieftains in order to give more Frenzy charges. That's the best way to do it. The best way to grab those guys is to go to Act 2, and it's the very first zone that's right outside the encampment as you're on your way towards the north side of Act 2. Rather than going towards Oak, if you go towards Craitland, it's the very first place. It doesn't have a waypoint, so you have to go to Act 2 town. And then you go to that very first Fields instance, and then you just summon up a bunch of those. I think they're called Carnage Chieftains, or it's either Carnage Chieftains or Host Chieftains. But it's whichever one spawns in that zone, and they will generate Frenzy charges. And you link them up with Blood Magic because they will cast their Frenzy charges more often for you and for your skeletons and for your zombies. Then on his 6th link, he's got Vol Summon Skeletons, Brutality, Minion damage, potentially Feeding Frenzy. Again, I've said take Feeding Frenzy out. And then do Melee, Physical, Ruthless, Melee, Splash. Yeah, this is just a solid build. I love Viperist's builds. He does a great job with it. So K-Trim, this is my final recommendation for you, and I'm going to send you a message here. I would recommend just straight up doing the Viperist. Go with Viperist. That would be the best way to do it. All right, well, thanks so much to everybody for watching here during our morning stream. We're going to be back here in a few hours once Mrs. Draconis is back from her doctor's appointment. Hopefully the baby that she is growing is doing well, and so we will see how she is doing and hear all the checkups from the doctors here in a few hours. But we'll be back with more POB help. So if you would like your path of building to be torn apart, made fun of, made memes out of, and in general commented on, then check back here in a few hours when we go live again with our second stream for the day.